Hi, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to Cube. My name is Brijesh, and here we have a wonderful session today on sentence arrangement. Now, many of you must have seen that we have already had two sessions on sentence arrangement. In both the sessions, we discussed questions in which we had one sentence broken down into four different parts, and we had to arrange those parts to form a meaningful idea. So, one sentence into four different parts, that is what we had in the earlier sessions. Now, in most of the exams, or maybe in some of the exams, because in CUT you have one sentence broken down into four parts, but there is one more kind of sentence arrangement in which you have four independent sentences and you have to arrange them to form a paragraph. That is also called as sentence arrangement, and it is slightly on the more difficult level, in the sense that those questions are slightly trickier and lengthy and maybe it's more time consuming than the sentence arrangement in which you have one sentence broken down into four different segments. Correct? Now let's have a look at this question. Before I go ahead, I will explain to you what exactly is this question all about and how to attempt these kind of questions, because these are likely to come in the exam. Here we have four sentences given to us. Sentence number 1, sentence number 2, sentence 3 and 4. Correct? And these sentences are not in the right order. By right order, I mean to say that 1 is not the opening sentence, or rather 1 is not the first sentence, 2 is not the second sentence, 3 is not the third sentence, and 4th is not the fourth sentence. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is not the order in which they come in the paragraph. They could be in any order. They may be in 1, 2, 3, 4 order, but usually they are not. So we are expected to find the right sequence from the given four choices here. So you have four choices given to you, and all of these four choices are giving you some sequence, and they're all different. You have to pick the one in which the sequence is logical. By logical sequence, we mean that you should say that yes, 3 will come first, 4 will come next, 1 will come, and then 2 will come. This is how the sequence would be, and this sequence is the best sequence as per you, or as per someone else. This could be not the best sequence, some other option could be the best sequence. The answer might vary from one to the other, but we have to pick the one, and once you get the right sequence, you get full marks for that. If you get the wrong sequence, you get negative marking, right? So how to go about these kind of questions? The best part of this question is that all the options start with different ones. See, this starts with 1, this starts with 3, this starts with 2, and this starts with 3. That means the opening sentence is either 3 or 2 or 1. 4 is definitely not the opening sentence. And once you pick the opening sentence, you also have to look that which can be a pair. That means which two sentences will definitely come together, in the sense that there must be two sentences which will always go as a unit. They cannot be separated. If you can find two such sentences which will be a unit, and that unit is there only in maybe one or two options, you can arrive at the answer in a shorter amount of time, right? Look at this now. Sentence 1 says, Percy is the son of a mortal woman and Greek god Poseidon. Percy and his friends go on a quest to prevent a war between the Greek gods Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. The Lightning Thief is a 2005 fantasy adventure novel which is based on Greek mythology. So before you talk about Greek god, before you talk about the Greek gods, don't you think that you should talk about Greek mythology? Before you talk about, let's say, Arjun, or before you talk about Yudhishthir or Bhim, isn't it right to talk about Mahabharat first? So you will tell your audience that you are going to talk about the story Mahabharat, and within the Mahabharat you have so many characters. So the audience has to be first acquainted with Mahabharat, and then within that you will talk about all the characters. So ideally speaking, you should talk about 3 first, because 3 says that The Lightning Thief is a 2005 fantasy adventure novel which is based on Greek mythology. Correct? So 3 is likely to be the opening sentence. So you can shortlist B and you can shortlist D. 1 and C, they go out, right? 3, 4, 1, 2 or 3, 1, 2, 4 are the two possible sequences. Now you have to understand, is it 3, 4 or is it 3, 1? That is that is basically going to lead you to the right answer. From 3, if you look at 3, it says The Lightning Thief is a 2005 fantasy adventure novel which is based on Greek mythology. And then you say Percy is the son of mortal woman and the Greek gods Poseidon. Percy and his friends go on a quest. So you say who is Percy, and here you say what is Percy doing. So can we say that 1, 2 is a pair? Yes, 1, 2 is indeed a pair, correct? But the point is that if 1, 2 is a pair, then both B and D have 1, 2 as a pair. So the placement of 4 decides the right answer, because 2 options have pairing 1, 2, and the pairing is totally correct. There is nothing wrong in the pairing. So statement 4 decides which is the right answer. Now, will statement 4 come after 1 and 2 in the end? Correct? Will it come after 1, 2 in the end, or will it come after 3 and then 1, 2? This is the sequence that you have to wonder. Now, statement 4 says the series. Now, this is very important. This the series is very important. This the series is basically referring to the Lightning Thief, because Lightning Thief is a fantasy adventure novel. So in a novel, you might have series of stories, or you might have series of mini sections, and therefore when the author says that The Lightning Thief is a 2005 fantasy adventure novel and is based on Greek mythology, by using the word the series, he refers to the Lightning Thief. And therefore, if you look at it, then 3, 4, 1, 2 is the right sequence and the right answer. So we have to say 3, 4, 1, 2, that is option B is the perfect choice. That is how we arrive at the right answer. So you start with 3, in which you mention about some sort of adventure novel, and then you say that the series is about a 12-year-old named Percy, and Percy is the son of mortal woman, and Percy and his friends go on a quest to do something. That's how the story goes. So it's a very simple question. In the exam, you are expected to do this within 1 minute, maybe less than 1 minute, because you have the options, right? So this could come in many other exams apart from CUET. Let's go and take the next question. This is the second question. So all of you can try this question now. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, you look at the sentences. 2 is the opening sentence, 3 is the opening sentence, 3. That means 3 is most likely to be the opening sentence based on the options that you see here. The option tells you that either 2 or 3 is going to be the opening sentence. So please take a look at 3. At the end of the 19th century, scientists did a lot of research about dyslexia and found some of the reasons that people are dyslexic. Correct? So at the end of 19th century, scientists did a lot of research. And scientists are doing a lot of research. Scientists did a lot of research, and here also a professor who did research. So scientists are doing research where? In the 19th century. And in the 1980s and 1990s, a professor is doing research. Correct? So can I say from 3 you go to 2? And therefore this looks like a very, very good choice. Yes or no? So you have to use the options. There is no need for you to look at the sequence independently of the options. If you look at the sequence independently of the options, then you will take too much time. So much time that you might actually waste the utility of the options, or the advantage of having the options. It says here that at the end of the 19th century, scientists did a lot of research about dyslexia and found some of the reasons that people are dyslexic. A professor who did research in the 80s and 90s looked at the brains of dyslexic people who had died. Correct? He found. So who is finding? This person he found is referring to the professor who is looking at the brains. So a professor is looking at the brains, right? A professor is looking at the brains, and the professor found something. Correct? What did he find? He found that some parts of the brain were not connected very well, and that this happened during the 4th month of pregnancy. Correct? Some parts of, so this is what he found. And once he found something, this problem has a big effect. What is the problem here? That the brain were not connected. So if the brain, parts of the brain are not connected, can't we say that this is a problem? And this problem has a big effect on the left half of the brain. So it's very simple, people. Once you have identified the opening sentence, and once you know that there are 2 sentences that will go together as a pair, the question becomes very, very easy for you, and you're likely to get full marks in less than 1 minute. So that was a very, very easy question. Let's go and take the next question. Correct? Now all of you can try this. This again is a question. It's a good question. You can see so many dates, and from the dates itself, you can understand that we should put 1664 first, or we should put 1624 first, then we should talk about 1664, then we should talk about, from 64 to 26, from 26 to 24 to 26, from 26 to 64, and then from 64 to 1785. So this sequence can give you fair idea about where the dates are going from, right? Let's try to understand now. What is this the post all about? Can the post refer to something? Yes, because whenever you use the article the with something, it always refers to something. For example, if you say that the match was the greatest ever I had seen, which match are you referring to? Is it a cricket match? Is it a football match? Is it a tennis match? Because the match refers to some specific match, right? Similarly, the post here refers to some kind of post. And where is this post visible? This post is visible here in sentence number 2, where you have the word or a phrase, a trading post. Correct? So you have to look at this. It says, New York City started as a trading post created by colonists from the Dutch Republic in 1624 on Lower Manhattan. So New York City started as a trading post created by colonists from the Dutch Republic in 1624. Correct? And the post was named New Amsterdam in 1626. So New York City started as a trading post, and this trading post is what is being referred to by the word the post. Correct? The post was named New Amsterdam in 1626. Correct? So from 2 you go to 4, and from 2 to 4 you have only one choice, and that is the right answer. So when you have the options, there is no need to say what after 2, 4. There is no point saying after 2, 4 you have 3 and you have 1. There is no other choice with 2, 4, and because 2, 4 is a sequence, statement B becomes, or option B becomes the right choice and the best answer. So the options can be used effectively to arrive at the answer in a very quick and short amount of time. Okay, let's go and take the next question. Wonderful. So this is going to be a bit tough for you, correct? Because it may not be as simple as it looks, but here again you have the sequence and you can try to use the sequence. So either you start with 4 or you start with 3 and 2. Would you start with 2? They are then fired. See, whenever you see the word then, there are two words which are very similar. They sound very similar. One is the word than and the other is the word then. Correct? When you say than, it refers to comparison. And when you say then, it refers to sequence. I had my breakfast and then left for office. So then refers to that after breakfast you did something. Similarly, you can say India's cricket team is much better than Pakistan's cricket team. So then is comparison here. If you look at this then, this shows that some action is happening in sequence, right? They are then fired in a special oven. So do cannot be the opening sentence, even 3 cannot be the opening sentence. It says firing makes the clay hard, and 4 says pottery objects are made from damp clay. So you first describe about what exactly is the subject matter. So before you talk about 3, it is advisable that you talk about 4, because the context is pottery objects. And within this context, you are using clay, and this clay is basically getting fired, right? So 4 is the right beginning for the paragraph. Neither A nor D will be the right answer. So from 4, would you go to 2 or would you go to 1? Look at this. Pottery objects are made from damp clay mixed with other materials. Correct? And it says that they are then fired. See, understand, before firing the object again, that means firing has happened once before. That means before 1, you must do the firing. But in 4.1, there is no such activity happening. Pottery objects are made from clay. The pottery may then apply the pottery objects are made from clay. The potter may then apply a glaze before firing the object again. This is basically a mistake, because here there is no firing happening. Then how can you say that 4.1 is a pair? You're not firing in 4 and then you say in 1 that before you fire again do something. That means 4.1 is not a pair, it is 4.2 which is a pair. I hope you're following this. How would you go ahead with this? Pottery objects are made from damp clay mixed with other materials, right? then you will say they are then. They refers to what? Pottery objects. Please understand, the pronoun will always refer to some noun, and they here refers to what? Pottery objects. So, pottery objects are made from damp clay mixed with other materials. They are then fired in a special oven called a kiln at high temperatures. The potter firing makes the clay hard. Of course, then you will have 4-1, 4-2, and then you will have 3-1. So, the sequence is B is the best, because 4 and 2 is a pair. Correct? Let's go and take the next question. Very simple. In fact, always understand, whenever you have dates given to you in sequence or in paragraph, that means chronological order can be effectively used to arrange the sentences to form a coherent paragraph or to arrange them in the logical order. Now look at this. यहाँ पे क्या दिया हुआ है? You have 1707, 1704. तो आप कैसे start करोगे? You can start with 4, then you go to 7, and then you go to 56 and 57. So this is most likely to come at the end. And that's why if you look here, then there is 2, 4, 3, 1, and there is 2, 3, 4, 1. Both choices A and B, they put statement 1 at the end. And therefore, you get a feeling that 1 might be the end and 2 might be the beginning. Why? Because in 2 you have 17, not 4. The only point is, should you have 3, 4 or should you have 4, 3? So, the 4, 3 and the 3, 4 pair decides what is the right answer. Okay? So, how it goes, look at this. In 1704, the capital of Bengal was moved from Dhaka to Murshidabad. In 1704, the capital of Bengal was moved from Dhaka to Murshidabad, right? What happened after that? In 1707, Aurangzeb, the last Mughal emperor, died. After this, governors in Bengal still paid tribute to the Mughal emperor, but Modi is left alone. So, can I say that the Mughal emperor died and therefore they were left alone? See, if you are left alone, there has to be a reason for being left alone. You can't say that they are left alone because in 1704 the capital of Bengal was moved from Dhaka. If you move the capital from Dhaka to Murshidabad, that is not the reason why the governors in Bengal would feel that they have been left alone. They would feel being left alone only when the emperor has passed away. When the emperor dies, you have no support, and that's the reason why the governors in Bengal must have felt left alone, must have been left alone, or must have felt that they are not having any support. So what happens is, from 2 to you go to 4, and from 4 you go to 3. So answer A is the best choice. This is the way you arrive at the answer. You have to be very, very logical. These are questions based on reasoning, not on language. Though you are using the grammar skills to understand in what logical order the sentences will come. Very, very good question. Let's go and take the next question. Correct? It's a very, very good story. And again, if you see here, all the sentences start with, all the options start with 4. That means 4 definitely is the opening sentence. What is the opening sentence? The opening sentence says, Saturn, who was the previous king of the gods, began to swallow the children that he had with his wife when they were born. So it introduces Saturn. It says here that Saturn began to swallow the children when they were born. So what should happen now? Yes, what should happen? This was. So this refers to what? This was because. This reasoning has come because this guy is swallowing. So 4-2 is a pair. And because 4-2 is a pair, this is most likely to be the right choice. Now you can go and confirm. 4-2 says that Saturn, who was the previous king of the gods, began to swallow the children that he had with his wife when they were born, and this was because he had been warned that one of his children would overthrow him. Okay. When his wife realized that she was pregnant with Jupiter, she had the baby secretly moved. Why would the wife do so? Because the earlier babies were eaten by Saturn, and therefore what he did, he moved the child secretly to create, giving a stone wrapped in baby clothes to Saturn for him to eat. And Saturn believed he had eaten. Therefore, 1 is the right answer. Option A is the best choice. It's a very, very simple question. The sentences look long, they look complicated, but when you read them, you realize that creating the sequence is not going to be a difficult task at all. Let's go and take the next question now. Here too also, you'll find that 3 is the opening sentence in all the cases, right? What it says, a myth about Pluto is that he took Proserpina, who was the daughter of Ceres, to the underworld to be his wife. So there is a myth about Pluto, and what is that myth? That he took Proserpina, was a daughter of Ceres, to the underworld. Okay, so there is a myth, and he took the daughter to the underworld. Very nice. What to do next? So you have 3 as the opening sentence. Ceres cried. So what is the reason for crying? Ceres cried and did not let plants grow on the earth. Correct? People needed the plants so much that the god Jupiter made Pluto give her up. Right? So the god made made Pluto give her up. And can I say that to give her up, they must have worked out a deal, and therefore 4-1 is a pair? Yes or no? Please see if this can be a sequence. Because 4-1 is a pair only in one option. They worked out a deal. Why should they work out a deal? They should work out a deal for some sort of contract, right? So people needed plants so much that, and why do people need plants? Because Pluto took Proserpina, correct, and Ceres cried and did not let plants grow. People needed plants, and therefore Jupiter intervened, and then you have the rest of the sequence coming up, right? So 3-2-4-1 is the right sequence. A very, very interesting question. Look at this. It looks such a big thing. So difficult. You will feel, oh my God, what is this? But it is not difficult at all. You should have the ability to read sentences, long sentences. And also, please understand that in CUET, you're going to have reading comprehension. And you will have to finish the entire comprehension with 5 or 6 questions in less than 5 minutes. So for that, you need to have a very, very good speed. Solving these kind of questions is going to improve your speed, right? Look at this question now. क्या बोल रहा है भाई? 3 से शुरू हो रहा है. In ancient times, the country which we now call Crimea was known by the name of Taurica Chersonesus. Okay, so there was a country by the name Crimea in ancient times. Okay, so can I say it refers to the country Crimea? Please pay attention. Don't you think that the pronoun it refers to the country Crimea? Because when you mention the name of a country, of course you will go ahead and talk about the people who are living in that country, who have inhabited that country. So how would you go about it? You would say, in ancient times, the country which we now call the Crimea was known by the name of Taurica Chersonesus. It was colonized by Greek settlers who, finding that the Scythian inhabitants had a native divinity somewhat resembling their own Artemis, identified her with the huntress goddess of the mother country. Correct? So 3-4 is a pair. 3-4 is a pair only in C and A. Correct? The worship of this Taurian. So this Taurian Artemis refers to what? Artemis. Correct? So can I say from here you move to here, and therefore 3, 4, 2, 1 is the right sequence. The worship of this Taurian Artemis was attended with the most barbarous practices. For, in accordance with the law which she had enacted, all strangers, whether male or female, landing or shipwrecked on her shores, were sacrificed upon her altars. It is supposed that this decree was issued by the Taurian goddess of chastity to protect the purity of her followers by keeping them apart from foreign influences. See, this is very difficult language. If you're not used to reading complex language, you will have difficulty in this question. But if you are used to reading complex language, you will be able to crack this question in a very, very short amount of time. So when you have such lengthy questions, you can ignore it. हालांकि देखा जाए तो सीयूटी बड़ा आसान एग्जाम होता है, उसमें इतने डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं आएंगे, लेकिन आप में से बहुत सारे लोग आईपी मैट की तैयारी कर रहे होंगे, कुछ लोग बीबीए की कुछ और एग्जाम्स क्राइस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी की तैयारी कर रहे होंगे, तो उसमें ऐसे क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं. दैट्स व्हाई इफ यू वांट टू स्कोर वेल in the non-CUET exams, you have to be very, very good with these kind of things, because this will definitely give you an advantage over the others. ठीक है? So I hope you enjoyed this session, you liked it, because I want to stop here, I don't want to bore you. ठीक है, हमने करीबन 8-10 क्वेश्चन ले लिए हैं, but this is where I would stop. Thanks a lot for being so attentive, and do revise these questions again. Next time we will meet with a new set of questions. Thanks a lot, people, and wish you all a very happy Diwali.